Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, or good grief. Welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. I hope you are doing well. There is a growing chorus on the right for the replacement of Attorney General Pam Bondi. And the argument is simple, it's emotional, and at first glance, somewhat compelling. Where are the arrests? Why hasn't anybody been prosecuted? What are we waiting for? Right? After every conservative has watched over the past several years, the weaponizing investigations, selective prosecutions, lawfare disguised as justice, that frustration is not only understandable, it's somewhat justified. But today, the Morning Report is going to say something that may not feel satisfying in the moment, but is absolutely necessary if we're serious about restoring the rule of law here in this country. Justice is not frustration management. And running around locking people up is not nearly as easy or as wise as social media makes it sound. Okay, let's be clear about something right up front. I am not arguing that wrongdoing should be ignored. No one is saying corruption should be tolerated. I am not saying anyone is suggesting that the powerful people should be immune from consequences. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is this: anger, being pissed off, is not evidence. Outrage is not a legal strategy. The conservative movement has every right to be angry. We watched institutions abandon neutrality. We watched prosecutors stretch statutes beyond recognition. We watched the media cheer arrests before trials ever began. We watched process become punishment. And now, understandably, people want payback. But justice is not payback. Justice is precision. So if conservatives turn accountability into a sprint instead of a methodical march, we don't win. We lose forever. So one of the biggest misconceptions in the public discourse is the role of the Attorney General. The Attorney General is not a sheriff. The Attorney General is not a TV pundit. The Attorney General is not there to send a message. The Attorney General's job is to bring cases that survive. That means cases with jurisdiction, cases with standing, with admissible evidence, with cooperative witnesses, with a clean chain of custody. That's how OJ got off. You can't have the Bronco just running around the hood for 2 hours and then take it to the police station and go, look what we found in the Bronco. Cases that can survive hostile judges, activist juries, and appellate review. You don't get to bring a case just because, well, everybody knows what they did. You don't get to bring a case because Twitter is furious. Or I'm sorry, X is furious. You don't get to bring a case because the optics feel right. Bad prosecutions don't advance justice. They destroy it. And here's the hard part. It's the hard part to hear and the hard part to say. A failed prosecution is often worse than no prosecution at all. So when a high-profile case collapses, it doesn't just end the case, it sets precedent. It hardens defenses. It validates the narrative that there was nothing there. And frankly, we don't get unlimited shots at this. The left has been willing to bring weak cases because even losing serves their political narrative. The process itself becomes the punishment because the headlines are the goal. The right doesn't have that luxury. If conservatives bring a major case and lose, the media will not say, well, they tried. What they'll say is, see, it was a conspiracy theory all along. And that loss will echo for decades. So when critics say nothing is happening, because we hear a bunch of that all the time, nothing is happening. The more accurate response is nothing visible is happening. Real investigations are quiet. Real case building is kind of boring to the rest of us. And real accountability takes time. Money trails don't just reveal themselves overnight. Witnesses just don't flip instantaneously. And institutions don't unravel without resistance. If anything, the absence of dramatic arrest may be evidence of discipline and not failure. And discipline is something conservatives have historically lacked, often to our own detriment. All right. Here's the deeper issue. If we truly believe the justice system has been corrupted, then we must be more careful with it, not less. You do not repair a compromised system by abusing it in the opposite direction. You don't restore trust by showing the public that prosecutions change with the political winds. You restore trust by proving that when cases are brought, they are airtight, principled, and immune to reversal. And my friends, this takes patience. It also takes restraint. And most of all, it takes political courage to withstand the screams for immediate action. I've been watching for the past few years, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up, and it feels good and say it, and everybody laughs and cheers, and it rallies the crowd and vents rage, but it's not conservative. It's not conservative. Conservatism has always claimed to stand for due process, equal protection under the law, and careful application of power. And if we abandon these principles, the moment it becomes emotionally inconvenient, then we never really believed them in the first place. We must not, under any circumstances, become what we've spent years condemning. All right. If I may, I want to talk to the Morning Report audience directly. You guys that have been with me since Blog Talk Radio, and some of you have since Blog Talk Radio, 2008, March. Your anger is valid, and your skepticism is earned. And our demand for accountability is correct. But if we demand speed over success, we aren't going to get either. Accountability that lasts is quiet at first and devastating when it finally lands. Justice doesn't announce itself on your timeline. It shows up in courtrooms, records, and rulings that cannot be undone. Okay, so before we start calling for heads to roll, We must demand replacements. Before we assume failure, we must ask a better question. Are we demanding spectacle or are we demanding results? Because if we're serious about restoring the rule of law, then we must accept an uncomfortable truth. Justice isn't late just because it isn't loud. And the moment that conservatives start demanding emotional satisfaction instead of durable accountability is the moment we lose the moral ground that we claim to stand on. My name is Willie Lawson. This has been the Morning Report. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye bye now.